In this video, we're going to do two things. We're going to change the belt on a Harbor Freight 150 psi air compressor. It goes under several different models. There's also different brands that use the exact same motor, including Bostitch and Husky. Here's the new belt. Here it is on Amazon, where it runs for $11. Even though the belts are different prices, it's still the exact same belt. At the end of the video, I'm going to talk about repairing or replacing the pressure switch. The only thing you really need to know is, with your old belt, it has to say PJ307. So regardless of what brand or model you have, as long as your belt says PJ307, then this procedure is going to work and you can safely order that belt as a replacement. The first thing you're going to do is remove the plastic shroud. It's 4 6mm hex or Allen bolts. If you don't have a hex socket set, I highly recommend you pick them up. They're very handy. This is my friend's air compressor. He bought it new 6 years ago and left it outside for 6 years. He didn't use it much, but what happened is the pulley wheels rusted. So I used an angle grinder with a wire brush to do the big wheel. And for the little pulley, I just put a wire brush on it and turned the motor on. Next, you're going to remove the little plastic fan, which is 4mm, and that is reverse thread. So you will turn towards tightening to unscrew it. Unscrew the aluminum tube. Those are compression fittings, and just be careful not to bend it because you need to align the threads after. Then you're going to remove the head. There's 4 bolts on there and a nut to go along with each one. On the inside, they sit on the ledge, so be careful not to lose them as you pull the head off. Well, you could slip the old belt off and move the piston back and forth and take it out through the hole. When you put the new belt on, you're absolutely going to need to have the piston off because you need to really turn the big wheel with a lot of force, and the piston gets in the way as you've got to rotate it to get the belt to walk onto the smaller pulley. To remove the piston, you're going to need to pry it off. The best way to do it is use a gear puller or a slide hammer. This is a slide hammer, but I'm using the gear puller aspect of it as I rotate it. We'll see that in the video in a moment. You don't have to do it this way, but I find you get better results. Unfortunately, I left it outside, and you can see what's happening with the sun. It got damp and moisture and probably some bad design. It's a little light duty. These hoses here, this is like a plastic elbow. Here's some rust here, so I'm using a copper brush just to try and clean up the piston a little bit, like that. What happened is here you can see the belt is, I don't know, kind of dried out or something, a little bit of dry rot. You can use any 1/4-inch extension. I just happen to have these from Harbor Freight, which reach down nicely in here. You could do them with a ratchet, but with the impact wrench, it's just faster and saves time. For leaks later, just use a bottle of soapy water in a spray bottle, and you can just mist it once the tank is pumped up and see if you see any air. You can also pump the tank up and leave it overnight, and then check the gauge, take a picture with your phone, look the next day, and if it hasn't gone down, you basically don't have any leaks. Taking the piston off and putting it back on is the same thing. You're just going to gently rotate that a little bit. You can move your piston forward or backwards, to get it to where, makes it easy to come off. There's a rust on that. This is reverse thread. So instead of righty-tighty, it's going to be righty-loosey. Slide hammer, but I'm using it in puller mode. So I'm just turning this. It made a little crack at first that I didn't record, but you can see it's just gradually working it off, and that's the way it's supposed to be. It pulls it nice and straight, and that's it. Now it's getting nice and easy. That nice and easy. So I have to thank the other person's YouTube video. I never would have figured this out. Now, I added the wrench to the mix. This is what you do. The wrench gives you the power because it's very hard to turn. This hole and the Phillips screwdriver lets you do this to get it on. And then once it's on, I was off one tooth. So I had to move over a rib. To do that, I just took this, put this in and then just rotate it by hand, and you can do that and push the belt to move it over. Thank you, Finney USA to the rescue. I thought this was going to be easy, honestly. I thought this would take like 20 minutes. And what happened is I went to Harbor Freight to look up the belt, and they didn't even list it in their manual. And so luckily I found this video. It was the only video I could find online. I skipped through it, saw the beginning part, and didn't even watch the end. I thought this is easy, just slip a belt on, we're good to go. After a half hour of my friend and I trying, we couldn't get that belt on. I said, I better go back to the video and find out how he did it. I'll put a link in the description so you can drop by his page, because if you don't have the slide hammer or a gear puller, you can just use his method, and obviously it works just fine.
If you look at the belt, you see it just barely fits around the bottom one. We're going to try to stretch it around both. What you want to do is you want to take it, get as far down below as you can. Take a Phillips head screwdriver and drop it into the second hole here. Let it go all the way down as far as it'll go. Just take and just take a spin. Might take it. See, it does stretch enough to go on. And all you have to do left is put everything back together.
Lube. You don't want to use grease or oil because that'll damage the belt and could cause it to come off. This is just something I use for lubricating cables. It's water-based, and once it dries, it doesn't leave any slipperiness. So I just coated the whole wheel, coated the inside of the belt, did the front wheel, and that helps it to slide out. It's important to do a quick test. To make sure the belt is on, isn't going to come off, and that everything's good. Socket and an ordinary clamp, you could use a C-clamp. Go ahead and crank it in. And, you know, you could hammer it on. It's probably not going to hurt it, but this is better for the bearing. It's nice and smooth, and it's easy. Okay, you just feel it bottom out, or it clicks in a little, okay? Alright, that stops. If you don't put it all the way down, then you're going to not be aligned right for the cylinder. There's junk on this table, it's unreal. Put the cylinder. Take that. I'm going to screw it like this and just rotate it like that. And see how the oil helps it slide on? Plastic air intake right there. And that's it, we're in place. Now I'm going to rotate it by hand. Everything sounds good. And now I'm just going to go ahead. Remember, there's two nuts in here that can fall off. Back out because it's easier. I'm going to take the nuts, slide that in. Like that. Take my next one. This is just for the two inside ones. Like that. You don't want to put oil on these because you don't want them to unscrew. Okay, tighten that up a little. I'm not going to tighten that all the way. Sometimes the compression ring will slide up. Very important to have this aligned properly. You may have to flex that a little bit. Get your threads to line up. Just a little bit more. Don't make them real tight. You don't need to be. Okay. Now, everything's looking good. Canopy, shroud, what do you want to call it? Millimeter. Put our extension on here. Okay. Get the sockets. Let's work that out. It's pretty rusty. So finally I ran the compressor, but guess what? It blew the safety valve and the motor wouldn't stop running because the pressure switch didn't work right. It was stuck. I knew the switch was the problem, but it wouldn't move when I tried to take it out. So rather than risk damaging it, what I did is I heated the metal that it screws into with a torch. And that took maybe a good minute to get it really hot. And that was to break the high-strength Loctite that was used, which is a permanent thread locker. You can't see it in the picture, but on the threaded end there's a round hole. I put a few drops of WD-40 down the hole. Then I took a size 0, very small Phillips screwdriver, put it in the hole. You could also use a drill bit. And I worked the metal diaphragm back and forth a few times to work in the oil. Then I put it back on using plumbing tape, and everything worked perfect. Harbor Freight sells one switch for $5, or Amazon sells a 2-pack of pressure switches for $11. So I would say plan to spend at least an hour and a half overall getting this repair done. So thanks for watching, good night, and good luck.